Today we'll be taking a brief tour of the Georgia Milestones online assessment for students. There are several tools that students will have available to them during testing, but one of the most important things to point out at the beginning is at the bottom of this page. For example, this short passage, Your Weekly Calendar, has a grand total of 3 pages. We are on page 1 of 3. To turn the page, all you need to do is click on the bottom of the page. Now you'll notice that we are on page 2 of 3. And finally, page 3 of 3. Anytime there is a graphic, such as a chart, you'll also be given the option to enlarge the text. This just provides you a way to look at the chart more clearly. If you are ready to select your answer, you'll be using the pointer tool. If you're evaluating the answers and realize that some of them don't make sense to you, you could select the cross off tool. If I've read through the text and I believe that Tuesday is an incorrect answer, I could cross that answer off by using the cross off tool. I could also select another answer that I believe is incorrect. If I accidentally click on this one and I still want to think about it as a possible answer choice, I simply re-click to remove the X. When I am ready to select my answer, I will click on the pointer. If I believe the correct answer is B, Wednesday, I simply click on that answer. To navigate to the next test question, I simply click on the Next button. If I was not sure B, Wednesday, was the correct answer, I could use the flag button at the bottom of the page. This simply flags question 1 to remind me at the end of the test that I would like to go back and review this question. On question 2, I'd like to point out some of the other tools you have available to you. There is a highlighter. This highlighter will allow you to highlight certain things within the text. For example, in this particular question, I might want to remember that the text reminds me to hide my calendar in a spot where I will see it. If I wanted to erase my highlighting, I could clear all. I also have the ability to use a sticky note. The sticky note allows me to type brief notes that I can use to help me answer additional questions. All I would do is open the note and then type whatever information I felt I needed to put in the box. If I made a mistake, I can go back and type over it. I can also delete the note, ask for additional help, which basically tells you how to use the sticky note, and I can close the sticky note. I may also click back up here on the sticky note icon and hide sticky notes. There is a magnifier as well that I can use. I can magnify by 1.5 or 2 times the text size. Please notice if you use the magnifier, it does move your test section off the edge of the page. There are small toolbars that allow you to pull the text over so that you can look at it. When you're done using the magnifier, you simply turn it off. The last tool to point out is the line guide. The line guide simply provides a blue line to help you underline each line as you're reading. To turn the line guide off, you simply click on the box again. Besides multiple choice answers, you will also have to type in short answers and possible longer answers, including sentences, to answer the question. You'll notice that you have a white empty box for you to type in. This particular question is asking what the main idea of the passage is. It reminds me to use details from the passage to support my answer. I have a total of 1,500 characters or letters that I can type in this box. I doubt many of you will need that many to answer this question. All you have to do is click inside the box and you will begin typing. If you make a typing error, you can use your backspace to go back and fix it. Remember, we're told to use details from the passage to support our answer. We are on page 3 out of 3 of the reading passage. If we want to go back to look at the beginning of the passage, we simply click at the top left corner. This will turn the page backwards, getting us all the way back to page 1 of 3 if that is where we need to look for details. Some questions might require that you read 2 passages to be able to write your answer. For example, this writing task has us reading about the northern red oak and the live oak. It tells us that we'll read about 2 passages, and then we'll type an informational or explanatory essay explaining the differences. Be sure you always read the directions before you begin reading. It will give you clues about what you need to look for as you're going through your stories. At the bottom, it tells you the title of the 2 passages, the Northern Red Oak and the Hardy Live Oak. It's important to note again that this is only page 1 of 5 pages that I'll need to read. To turn the page, I simply click at the bottom of the page, and now I'm on page 2 of 5, beginning reading about the Northern Red Oak. As I reach the bottom of the page, I'll click again and finish the paragraph. It now tells me that I will read the second passage. I simply click to turn the page and begin reading about the hardy live oak. Remember, you have a highlighter that you can use as you are going through your passage. You have a sticky note tool that you may use as you are reading. You have a magnifier in case you need it, but this should really be used very rarely. And finally, you have a line guide. This tool just simply creates a blue line, allowing you to keep track of where you're reading. The only tools you'll use for your answer choices are the cross-off tool, which allows you to eliminate answer choices, and the pointer, which you will use to select the answers. You also have flag at the bottom in case you want to review this question at the end of the test. Some test questions require you to write a few short sentences to answer the questions. Other ones will require that you write a much longer passage. For example, this is a writing task. I'm expected to write several paragraphs as an answer. Notice on the right-hand side this dark gray bar. This bar indicates that I need to scroll down to continue reading the directions. At the bottom, there is a typing space. The difference is this typing space gives me many more characters that I can use to answer this question. While the math questions are similar, they do look slightly different. This is a clear one where all I need to do is select my answer. But on the next page, you'll notice that there are several sections that I need to pay attention to. Here is the information that I will use to answer the question. But this question has a part A where I type in an answer, as well as a part B where I will type in an answer. This small box here called the Equation Builder, gives me tools so that I can type a mathematical sentence if I needed to. For example, if I needed to say 6 times 4 equals, I could use these tools to complete that mathematical equation. Once I select OK, it will put what I type in the answer box for me. It is important that you make sure you always read the question carefully. For example, this question under Part A says to select 3 statements about the piles that are true. So instead of answering 1 bubble, I will actually be selecting 3 answer choices. When I get to the end of the test, I will be selecting the Review or End Test button. It will be important to raise your hand so that your teacher can verify that all of your questions are answered. This chart will come up showing you what questions have been answered, what questions have not been answered, and which questions you flagged to go back and look at. If you'd like to go back and look at this question, for example, you could click on this row and it will take you back to that exact question that you flagged. Once you have answered all the questions and your teacher has verified that every question is answered, you will select End Test. It will remind you one last time to be sure you have answered every question. Once you hit this final End Test button, you will not be able to go back to any section of the test. I hope this tutorial has given you an idea of what to look for on the Georgia Milestones assessment that will be coming up after spring break. I'm sure you will all do well, and I hope you have a great break.